Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kpush podcast. Today, episode 177 with Kenny Buttons, everybody. You've seen him before on this podcast.
That's right.
That's right. You said that you went up on the mothership.
Yeah, that was a while back, actually. I would say more than a year.
For what?
For the open mic. Every Sunday, I believe they have an open mic. And I got on.
How'd you do?
I did good. Because it was... I killed the first minute, and then the back half was bad. So if you average it out, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah. If you go by laws of averages, I did well.
There you go.
I heard from one of the door guys, Lucas McCrary, that Adam Egan liked my first joke. So that's something.
That is something. That's huge.
That was my first impression. And what do they always say about first impressions?
The lasting impressions.
What?
Right?
The last impression was bad. My first impression was good.
Isn't it the lasting impression, though? The first impression is the lasting one? Or the one you remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I forget the lore there.
Well,
impressions.
I'm probably wrong.
We're just two guys with microphones. There's nothing that we know very much. If we did, we wouldn't be here. We'd be in a laboratory or something.
Yeah, doing something important, figuring something out.
Exactly. Honestly, I think we're just figuring out ourselves, and that's an important endeavor. I think a lot of people don't do that.
No. Well, you've taken a lot of steps to try to figure yourself out, I feel like.
Yeah, I take a lot of steps to do that, and I have. It's what you don't. The mistake that I made early on was trying to expect results, and what you do is that every lesson is like on a delay. So you learned something a year ago, and you don't realize what happened until after a year.
Yeah.
Or more or less, depending on the lesson, because it takes time to process. You ever feel that way?
Yeah. I feel like there are some things that happen, and sometimes you get stuck. Like it stunts, like the way something stunts your growth, it almost stunts your emotional development of something. I feel like if something really tragic happens to you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be tragic, maybe it can just be something annoying. But, I mean, they always say hindsight 20/20.
Hindsight 20/20.
You know what I mean?
I always think about hindsight 20/20. It's just like, you look back and you're like, yeah, that would have been better if I did this or this. And I think I live perpetually in that world. But, at the same time, I'm still here. I'm still kicking.
There you
Can't
go.
be that bad.
There you go. How do you feel about stand-up comedy now?
Okay, the watermark is, how long ago did I do this? Like a year and a half?
Yeah, it was like a year and a half ago, I think.
2?
Yeah.
Time's kind of flying.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Because, oh, wow.
I will say this, because I thought about what to say if you went. I had a feeling this question was going to come up.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the last time I was on, I think I was probably doing like, I don't know, between 10 and 15 mics a week, getting booked, doing that sort of thing. And then like lately, it hasn't been like that. I've really shrunk down the amount of time I perform, but I have way more irons in the fire. I got 100 things going on with photography, filming, writing, participating in the scene, and I think that applies to you too.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of mics, a lot more mics, but definitely when I first turned 21, I went crazy. I think for about like 4 or 5 months, and now over the past 2 months, I've really slowed down.
Okay.
Not like crazy much. I'm still like probably 10, 13 mics a week.
Yeah, that's way more than me.
And, I do that show with Courtney. A lot of what I do now is really dependent on this podcast and doing that show with Courtney.
Yeah.
And then everything else I do look at is just practice.
Yeah, good practice.
Yeah.
So you did 4 or 5 a lot, right? When you turned 21.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
like 4 or 5 months, I've kind of slowed down, so I haven't been hitting every spot. Any spot in particular that stands out?
Well, Lester Pearl, the person who was just on, Mike Hale,
Yeah, Mike Hale
he
runs
runs it,
Yeah.
and we just had him on. Um, he's a great host, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is a fantastic host. He'll pull any energy out of the deadest of rooms.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he'll find out who is still trying to participate and really kind of placate towards them, even if the comics aren't doing that great. He still, puts his full effort forward. And that one's great, but now the problem is with great open mics in Austin, Texas,
Yeah.
is they only last great to you. They only last great to you for about 4 months.
Yeah.
So now if I showed up at 7 o'clock, which is the sign up time, and I got place 18,
Mm-hmm.
and
What's the cap?
it's like 25,
Okay. Yeah.
and they shortened the time now. It used to be 5 minutes, now it's 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's still a ton of time.
Still a ton of time. That's that's 2 hours, 2.5 hours of a show, and the place closes at 10.
Okay. Yeah.
So they have to, they got to wrap up.
There is a hard stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a hard stop because of the venue, not because of the host. I think Mike would go all night long with it, but there's just a hard stop, and then now, it gets competitive. Beforehand,
Yeah.
I remember I showed up at 7:30 when it started, and I got placed like 12.
Yeah.
And now if you show up at the stand-up time, you're getting 18.
Well.
So it's just a big difference.
Yeah.
A lot more people go.
Yeah, because they probably heard it was a good mic.
And it is a good mic.
Yeah.
It's a very good mic. And also you get less of the crazies down south. Like when you're
6th Street.
yeah, when you're in 6th Street, you get a lot more insane comics.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is what it is.
I call them the Kill Tony freak.
yeah,
They're just trying to say the most racist,
yeah.
anti-Semitic, misogynistic thing that they could possibly think of.
Yeah.
And man, do they love to do it.
Oh, they get off on it.
Yeah, they get off on it. It's the weirdest fucking thing. It's like, how about we try to make jokes
Yeah.
to make people laugh, and not just yourself, not in your free
No.
mind.
How close can I get to saying the N-word before I get the shit kicked out of me?
I'd respect them more if they would just just have the balls to do it.
Right.
I mean, if you're trying to offend people, go for it.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I can't stand that kind of stuff. Look, I mean, I try to push boundaries, but not boundaries of not your traditional boundaries of race and sex or transgenderism or whatever. I try
Right.
to push the boundaries of how cryptic can I be, but still make it relatable. Right. That's just the way I think. The way I think is I try to push myself. It's like, can I get these weird ideas off my chest and then still make it seem like they're funny and people can relate to. The last time I performed was at Creek, or one of the last times I performed was at the Creek open mic, and it was doing well. It wasn't a rambunctious, haha, but man, I swear to God, halfway through, I'm setting up my premises and I hit my punchlines. And the crowd is not necessarily laughing, but they're definitely on my side with some of my ideas, because I'm trying to dig deep for ideas that people can relate to,
right.
that correspond to my perspective, and I guess I'm missing out on the funny, but I'm actually hitting some actually important aspects of the human psyche.
I think 2 really good things you have going for you with stand-up comedy. Number 1, you think really weird. Like, the way your brain thinks is just not... I've had a lot of conversations with people on here. You're really unique
Thank you.
in the way you think. In a good way. I'm not trying to bash you.
Yeah, the weird part of my brain is like, is this guy fucking with me?
I'm trying to test you right now
you're testing
on
me,
my
dude.
podcast.
Is this a gotcha podcast?
No. But it's a very unique way of thinking,
Yeah.
and if when you see that come out on your stand-up, it's really entertaining. Number two, you're a really likable guy. Like if somebody says like, "Oh, Kenny Buttons," I don't like him. It's like, what the fuck? What's your problem? You know what I mean?
No, it's so weird because like there's definitely comics in the scene, and I won't mention them. They give me that vibe. It's just like there's some people that I just can't. I've tried to like them,
right,
and they just come off too abrasive or something, too serious.
Yeah,
you meet a lot of serious comics in the scene, which is strange because I thought we were out here to kind of like make fun of ourselves and like have fun, but some comics are just like, no, this is art and this is my art form and you're dumb for even trying to be silly or stupid. So I don't really confide a lot. And what I do is I try to attract comics that think like me.
Right.
Like me. So I have like a I don't know how to put it, but just like a brotherhood sounds too cliche. But just like well-meaning goofballs, I try to gather around.
Yeah. Well, that's what comedy should be about, is just being funny.
Yeah.
If you get serious, George Carlin is a comic, that's great. Not everyone's George Carlin.
I wonder if he would have been a good hang. George Carlin?
I know.
Could you imagine? I don't know, because like towards the end he got really serious, which I still enjoyed. Like he was more like becoming like a comedian philosopher, just like a public. I know some people thought of him as a public nuisance, just pointing out all the hypocrisies with everything around him. But like as a young rebellious teen, that spoke to me deeply.
Right.
Just like
problems
with the church, problems with the government, And it's just like, I was like, yeah. The Catholic Church is weird, or the government doesn't care about me.
Right.
But back then I was like full of testosterone. Now I'm just like, yeah, that's old news, man. What are we talking about?
Right.
That's why I think the older stuff, like I remember the last special George had, where he was talking about how he organizes.
Little cheers, dude. There we go.
Heading off to Zimbabwe.
Come on.
This is the only thing I'm allowed to do anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I only do zins when I'm blackout drunk or when I'm doing the podcast.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Two good reasons to do zins. I do zins. I'll tell you because you haven't seen. Well, we haven't really caught up deeply.
No.
In a while. So I quit vaping. You remember I was a big vapor.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh.
Congratulations. Yeah. I went to Itch, and then it was also a good time for a handshake. So it was like I went to a double.
Yeah. See, my brain's fucking weird. But I've tried to, you gotta accept things like that.
Yeah. You were like, yeah, dude, this 21-year-old who has a podcast who's making fun of me for being weird can't be real.
Plus, the lighting in this room is very ethereal. It's like like almost purgatory. Like I feel like this would be with the blue light and the red light, and you're just like, all right, which door do I go through? It's not the red one, but I don't know. Right.
Could you imagine this is actually purgatory? Yeah. It's actually just this room, and I can see it's a podcast.
The modern version of the Purgates.
Right.
Peter does a podcast with you, and then we go through your life. They got all the embarrassing stuff.
Yeah, right.
And you have to explain yourself for each thing. It was like, oh, why did you do that one thing with your cousin? That was weird. You got any explanation to that? And I'm like, well, I was really horny. I was going through puberty. It was weird, yes.
Yeah, it's just Joe Rogan sitting there. He's ready.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull that up. How you made out with your cousin. Pull that.
Oh, jeez. What was talking
we
about?
were talking about deeply connecting, and we haven't really talked in a while.
Yeah. So since you saw me, I quit vaping,
Yeah.
and I did like the smart guy move where I picked up cigarettes again.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I quit cold turkey cigarettes when I was in my 20s.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, I was like, vaping is hard to quit because it's just like, it's super addictive. It's easy. It doesn't smell bad. Like all the reasons I quit cigarettes and started vaping made it hard to quit vaping.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I gotta stop. I kept getting throat infections, which was cutting up into my stage time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it sucks to be sick all the time.
Yeah.
And I was sick all the time. I'd have crazy throat pain. So, anyways, I didn't have a doctor tell me this, but I trusted my gut on this one. But yeah, no, it came true because I stopped getting throat infections.
There you go.
So vaping, stopping. But then I picked up cigarettes. But what I did was I started doing roll-ups. You know what roll-ups are? You buy a bag.
Oh,
of
yeah. Okay. And that's supposed to be like better for you, right? It's supposed to have less chemicals, I guess.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing bad you're really inhaling, other than smoke, is the paper. The
Right.
paper, which I could have even went even further and gotten like less harmful paper, but I hated that paper. I got like the French stuff, like the tops. If anybody knows what that, if anybody
Sure.
over the age of 60, it's tops French rolling tobacco paper, you know, and I quit that because it was like, okay, it's time to grow up. You said you were gonna quit vaping, and you said you were gonna do the smoking to stop
Right.
to stop that, and you were gonna stop smoking, and I did, and here I am with the Zins.
Cool.
It's kind of just a holdover, and I think very soon I'll go down to 3 milligrams, and then hopefully I pop a Zin once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need something. I feel like everybody needs a little something. You just got to keep it minimum.
I mean, do we? It's like, it is true. It is true. I don't mean a lot of people that are just like nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Because even if they're nothing, it's caffeine. It's always
Yes.
caffeine. They're always like, I gotta have my 3 cups in the morning.
Yeah.
I gotta, you know.
Yeah.
It's that. But I've never been a caffeine guy. I'm doing a little caffeine because I wanted a little pep today because I wanted to be on for the podcast. But for the most part, I would have never bought this high brew coffee. Black and bold, dairy free.
There you go.
It's pretty good.
So I'm a big caffeine guy. Big
How big are
caffeine.
we talking about?
I'm talking about, so it depends. So I'm off of marijuana 3 days a week now.
Yeah.
Which I was doing like every day, pretty much, from like 16 to like right about 20.
Okay.
I was doing it every day. And then I just started once a week off, then did twice a week, 2 days a week off. Now I'm at 3 right now. It's good. I like being off weed 3 days a week. I like, if I don't smoke in the morning, there's not a panic attack. How am I going to get through the day?
Yeah.
But on those 3 days I'm off weed, I do like 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Of caffeine?
Yeah.
Coffee or energy
So
drinks?
I actually have these caffeine pills.
Wow.
Yeah.
Straight to the source.
Straight to the source. And I usually, that's what I did right now. So I have a caffeine pill, I break it, I mix it in here with a liquid IV, and I get like a healthy energy drink, quote unquote.
Right.
And the thing is with the liquid IV, 11 grams of sugar isn't great for you. It's not perfect.
Right, yeah.
But it gives you a little sugar boost, and then right when that cuts off, the caffeine starts to kick on.
I think you're doing good because you could easily be a white Monster Energy guy.
I
can
could.
see that.
Yeah.
You can't see it on the camera, but Chris has like 20 water bottles. I think these would have been 20 white monsters. Just like little soldiers.
Yeah.
Which is fine. No, I appreciate the hydration. I can actually respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I've gone gallon bottles from HEB spring water.
They're great.
But they build up over time because they're just sitting all around the house.
Yes.
I have like a water station. It's in the corner, and then the empties. Depending what I'm doing, I'll either throw them into the living room, which is like right next to the door, so I'll take them outside. But if I don't, if I'm feeling especially lazy, those build up over time too. But those look insane.
Are you still hitting the sauna here and there?
No, it's been a while since I hit the sauna. The last sauna experience I had was not great because I think I pushed myself too hard.
No.
I did like almost 35 minutes.
35 minutes?
Yeah.
No break?
No break, no. Yeah, and I went out. I came out. I felt like a cooked ham. It was insane. I went to the shower to rinse off. And in the shower, my head was spinning. Yeah. And then I went to go sit down in the locker room to kind of like dry off. And then I think I sat there for like 20 minutes.
Buddy.
And I couldn't get my heart rate down. But then eventually did, and then I went. But I remember the rest of the day was not good.
No.
Yeah.
That will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not, taking breaks.
Right.
And you're not, you got to be David Goggins level to like walk off a 35-minute sauna session.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think like the minimum is like 10 they want you to do.
Yeah, for start, I do 30.
Yeah.
So I do 30 minutes, and I bring in an ice water, and at 10 minutes I
That's
throw...
another thing I don't do is I don't bring anything. I do it, what do they call it? I just, crap. I just go in raw. No water.
That's crazy.
No towel.
No good.
No cell phone.
No good.
I'm just sitting there. No earphones. I'm just sitting there sweating.
You are raw dog in the sauna, man.
Raw dogging.
That's crazy, son.
Just listening to Hispanic dudes, shadow box in the corner. And I'm just sitting there, just slowly rendering out. But it's nice.
It's
I don't
good.
know why I pushed. I think I wasn't keeping an eye on the clock, and it just when I finally realized where I was just like, oh crap, that was 35 minutes.
Yeah,
so much.
I have it down to a science now, to a point where because I've been doing the sauna for. I did it right after all the stuff happened last year, so it's probably been like 14 months of consistently hitting the sauna, and so now I do 30 minutes. I do it probably 3 times a week now. I should go more, but what are you gonna do?
Does it? I don't know the science, but does it compound? Right, like you do 30 minutes. If you spread that out, that's 10 minutes for 6 days. Yeah.
Right. I think it would be better if you did 10 minutes probably every day.
Yeah.
But if you can only have 2 days off, which I do, I think it's probably better to stay in a little bit longer.
Right.
You know
Which
what I mean?
sauna do you go to though?
The Y right down here.
And how hot does it get?
It gets to this sauna is very interesting.
Okay.
So it gets to 180, 175 usually, but it's in the pool. So it's in the pool like room. So the humidity is 80%.
Yeah.
So you can barely breathe in that bitch. And so I'll go in, I'll bring in 3 liters of water. Half of it is frozen. I throw it in the freezer. So then it's cold as fuck. And
you young guys are obsessed with cold water.
Obsessed.
I don't know what it is.
I don't.
I got a new. That's another new thing. I got a new roommate.
Oh, you did.
Nick V. Now it's you know him, Matt Alvarez.
Oh, Matt's great.
Creek, yeah. So he's my new roommate right now. But like every morning, he's just like, I see water bottles in the freezer, and I put them down into the fridge, and he's like, "What are you doing that?" And I'm like, "Dude, why do you need the coldest water? I drink room temperature water every time."
Yeah.
But maybe now that when I look back at it, when I was younger, it was cold water.
Really?
Cold water, yeah, iced water.
Now you don't care.
Now I don't care. It's like
interesting.
The only thing I can't do is like maybe because I drink tea too, so it's like hot water's fine. But cold water can't be. I'm just like, I could care less.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's funny, when I do cold water, or like icy water, it's like almost a treat. So I was like, okay, I'm different. I know, I'm just realizing how boring I've become in my old age. Like, ooh, ice water.
Yeah, Kenny's getting wild with the ice water on Friday nights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I don't even like, do you like soda?
See, no, I'm trying to stay away from soda.
Yeah.
I really try to stay away. If I'm drinking, I'll take soda, but then I try to go for diet.
So you're 21 now, right?
21.
So you've been hitting the bars.
Yeah.
Any bar in town you like to call home?
Actually, no.
I mean, because there's no bars around here.
No bars actually. Now that I say that, that's a lie. I just go to the comedy clubs
And drink there.
So if I want to go drinking somewhere, I'll go to the creek.
Yeah.
And I'll just drink there.
Okay, so what do you get at the creek? What do you like to get?
So, okay, secret time. I'll do like 2 shots before I go into the creek, because it's just
a little pregame.
Yeah, a little pregame. It's expensive. I can't afford to
does not
fuck around.
Fuck around.
So then I'll buy like 1 or 2 drinks at the creek at most.
And what are they typically?
And I'll do like Tito's and Coke. And if they do diet, I'll do the diet.
All right.
But I'm not picky.
Yeah.
And then I always try, if I'm dieting, I only do clear vodka.
Clear vodka on rocks or just
No, I'll do it, usually with a shot. So like my go-to is the liquid IV and just take shots of like Tito's.
Okay.
And then that doesn't affect my weight as much.
Yeah.
I notice I'll go in, I'll sweat that all out in the sauna, and it's good to go.
Are you do you gain weight easily or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Really easily. Yeah. I went on vacation.
I thought you were about to say I went on Ozempic.
Yeah. No Ozempic for me.
Or what?
My mom.
I mean, you can't call your mom fat. I get it.
No. I'm not. She could, and she always has fluctuated.
Okay.
A lot, but she's always done isogenics. We always had this joke in our household where she would be cleansing for 3 days. So she would fast for 3 days, and she would be furious for 3 days.
Yeah, angry.
Yeah, just so mad.
Women in fasting do not make
no.
Like, I'm part of a fasting forum, and I'm surprised women are on there. And I'm like, I feel bad for everybody in their lives, because I tried to make my ex-wife fast a few times because she was complaining about gaining weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, why don't you fast? Why don't you try to fast? And she did it, and she'd do it for a day, and she was like, I didn't lose 20 pounds. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
No.
But, yeah, I remember being like, fasting for you does not work, because you were so angry and upset when you're fasting.
I mean, they get furious.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's hard. Also, if you're doing the real, legit 3-day fast, which I've done, and I did a lot over the summer, and I did a triathlon, not professionally, but just in a gym. That was my goal. I was like, I'm gonna be able to do a triathlon, and I did it. And like a week before then, I fasted, so it was easier to run and swim. Because like 3 pounds when you're running for 6 miles is huge, huge. And
that's
swimming.
That's why triathlon athletes typically are like super skinny, right?
Super skinny.
Yeah.
That, and something that I got into, but I like I want big arms.
Yeah,
I want to be
your shoulders have grown substantial. And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I started out 180, and then I got down to.
No, it's just commenting on a young boy's body is something I gotta avoid. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
But hey, man, who's not gonna tell you about a broken down old man?
No, we need you. Us young people, we need you to be like.
Stop doing it at the gym too to strangers. It's not good. Just go up to guys just staring. Oh, good.
I work at Kava, and people will come in and they'll have like muscle shirts on, like right after the gym.
On 6th Street?
No. On right in Sunset Valley on Brody Lane, that little plaza right next to Mad Greens.
Yeah.
And they'll come in with like muscle shirts on and fucking jacked arms, and sometimes I do say, dude, I need your workout routine.
Yeah, and it's called hormone treatment.
Yeah.
What is that thing that makes you cough?
Trend.
Yeah, trend. I'm just trend out right now.
I'm on testosterone and creatine.
Would it be weird if I got on a cycle? That'd be a weird move. I think my heart would explode. I just don't think I'd But that'd be cool.
It would.
I'd be on trend.
You'd be pretty cool. You'd get jacked quick.
Yeah, but
Quick.
no, imagine if I just did trend and that's it. And my life doesn't change. The only thing I do is walk my dogs. My calves are already gigantic, but they fucking explode.
Yeah.
Bottom heavy, that's what they say.
You're right. Bottom
heavy.
That'd be hilarious.
But it's hard to like show off your calves to women. Be like, hey, check this out.
Yeah, right. You gotta wear certain types of shorts.
Yeah.
And you could wear leggings.
Yeah, compression socks. Just really show off the lines, the vertical lines.
Show off the goods.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else is garbage, but man,
you got nice calves.
Which when I was in I think ninth grade, a girl came up to me. And she was like, and this is when I was like the last year I was in football, and she said, and she was really pretty. Her name was Ophelia, I think. Yeah, Ophelia. She came up. She had those big doughy eyes, and she was just blossoming into a young woman. Ooh.
I didn't know when to cut you off there. You know what I mean?
Just keep going.
Yeah.
I was her age at the time, so this is just reflections of a young man and way past the statute of limitations. So I'm in the right, officer. But yeah, she came over. She's like, "Oh my God, your legs are so hot," and I'm like, I still didn't know how to talk to women, and I still kind of don't either.
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything. I just I went fully freaking coma, like just thank you. I didn't even say thank you.
You didn't?
She just looked at me disappointed and walked away. And I was just like, great, back to math homework here. I understand this.
Where were you?
This was in high school. This was like in between periods or whatever.
And so you were just like at your locker or whatever?
No, I was at my desk.
Oh, you were at your desk.
She came up to me. This happened several times. I remember one time in 7th grade or something, a girl, like the hottest girl on the bus, like we had a bus route, and the hottest girl came up to me, and she was like, I think you're cute, but I don't think we could date each other, because you're kind of a dork. She said that to me.
Uh-huh.
And again, she just hit me out of nowhere, and a pretty girl came up to talk, and immediately I'm just like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
When I say hottest girl, I mean, she was just hot. The only thing this is so stupid, but she had like a weird burn scar all over her chest, and it was
burn scar?
Yeah, it was so weird. I don't know.
From what, like being abused? Like
I have no idea. Maybe her father was a blacksmith.
Yeah.
Piece of iron fell on her chest, but I remember I told my buddy, I was like, "What do you think of this girl?" And he's like, "Oh, I think the scar's hot. I just want to lick it." And I'm like, I mean, we are definitely in 7th grade.
Yeah. It was probably from some deep traumatic memory.
Sexualize it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, this has happened before, man. I'll tell you another story.
Yeah.
There's a Japanese girl in my class.
Okay.
And everybody was just like, oh, we were like, Jasmine, her name was. And, all my friends were like, oh, you should ask her out. And all her friends were like, you should ask Kimmy out. And I remember in between classes again, she came up to me. I don't know why I'm just sitting around. I was too focused on schoolwork. I wasn't horny enough, I don't think. I think I was horny, but I kept it deep inside of my core.
Uh-huh.
Because my mom, whatever, my mom was just like super, like, she was a tiger mom, she just, she was an immigrant, so education's so important to immigrants that she really beat it down into me to be a good student. And so I only focused on school when I was in school, so.
Really?
Yeah, it was only until like after 9th grade, 10th grade, that's when I was like, okay, it's time to relax because this is stupid now.
Really? And then what happened after that?
Well, I guess I didn't finish the Jasmine story, but she came up to me.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's great. No, thank you for writing that. She came up to me and she was like, I think we could date, but my dad wants me to date a Japanese guy. And I didn't have a rebuttal. I should have been like,
yeah, right.
Or lie. One thing they don't tell you about women is you can just lie to them. Be like, yeah, of course I'm Japanese. Absolutely.
Really?
I'm Japanese. No, I should have.
Yeah.
When I think about it now that I'm 36. I'm 36 now. And, yeah, I could have just easily lied and be like, yeah,
right.
I'm totally Japanese. His dad will be totally fine with this arrangement. For the better.
You're like, I know how to use a sword. I know how to use a katana.
I know the way of the sword is. I know how to use the chopsticks. It's great. Sushi wasn't a thing back then, but I could have gotten into sushi. No
Yeah, for sure.
And she was pretty because she was busty
and Japanese, right? I'm assuming.
That really, honestly, my first crush was on an Indian girl.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so I never had an issue with any type of race.
Sure.
Weird? Am I saying
no, I don't think so.
I'm open to all races.
Yeah. No, you don't have a preference.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I don't have a preference.
No, you're just like, well, whatever.
Yeah, I was whatever. It was like, this seems normal.
I think most people are like that. I think maybe some people have a certain preference, like they would prefer, a type of girl. But I think that a lot of men are like, anybody who looks decent.
All right.
Of any, race, culture, whatever. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Shouldn't matter.
No, I don't think so.
No, not really.
Some people get,
But then you have the other spectrum. It's where they fetishize a race.
Yeah.
Have you met guys like that?
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
I can only date black girls, or I can only date Asian girls.
Yeah, that's weird.
Or the cool ones, where like I can only date white girls. The master race.
I only like normal ones.
Yeah.
No,
Those are the cool ones.
Yeah, those are the cool guys. That's Nick V. He's a cool guy.
No, Nick V's confessed that he wouldn't mind a little chocolate in his milk. So
no.
We all have our preferences.
Yes, of course. Yeah, there was a guy in my high school who was like openly racist.
Yeah.
And like didn't like,
Was he one of the Paul brothers or?
But maybe an Andrew Tate fan. That type.
But what is Andrew Tate? He's like South African and English. He's a weird guy.
Yeah, right.
He's like I don't know 100%. He also was in Romania too.
Yeah, he says he's black.
He says, I think like
he says he's black.
Yeah.
And he says the N-word.
He does.
He does say the N-word, and he does say he's black.
Yeah.
So
but
I don't know.
His brother just looks like a Mediterranean.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
An enigma for sure.
Either way, a lot of maybe some racist people might listen to some Andrew Tate. That was my point. It's not, and it's not necessarily a point. It was more of a joke.
Yeah.
But this.
Thank God. Thank God. By the way, all of this has been jokes, not points.
No, yeah. Can I just make that claim? Of the 270 or 177 podcasts I've had, all of them have been jokes. I haven't made a single point.
Not a single point.
But this guy, he was, everybody knew.
What was his preference then?
He was dating a black girl. He was dating a black Jewish girl.
Okay.
And he would say things that other black and Jewish people wouldn't like.
And he himself was?
White.
White.
He was white.
that's kind of a trope these days. It's
in the military.
If you ever meet like a super racist white guy,
Mm-hmm.
they're always married or dating a black girl.
You're right.
It's so crazy.
Right.
How does that work out?
I don't know. And I don't understand it. But I think that is that part of that fetishization.
Yeah.
I think in their mind, it's like, this person is bad, so it's bad that I'm getting with them.
Oh my God, that's like a hack for hot sex, right?
Yeah,
So
it
it's a
is.
hack. It's
Yes.
taboo.
You're making it taboo in your brain.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's like, you know when an alcoholic knows that what they're doing is really bad,
Oh yeah.
but they also like the fact that they know it's bad, so they keep doing it. It's like a way of slowly killing yourself,
Yeah.
and they like that. So I think it's sort of similar, where a racist person goes, hey, I don't like black people,
Yeah.
but I'm going to have sex with one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you see that with women too, like especially
Mm-hmm.
like women in politics who are just like the white devil and blah blah blah. You always
Mm-hmm.
look at their significant other, and it's a white guy.
Yeah.
The most whitest guy you could ever imagine.
Well, classic example, white girl with a racist dad.
Right.
Who does she like? Black guys.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's taboo.
It's taboo.
Right. She's got to sneak around it. She's got to sneak around her dad.
Yeah.
She can't let the dad find out.
No. Or she does. It makes it that much cooler.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird how people work things out that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess I'm a live free or die kind of guy. Just like whoever decides to
Like you.
like me. First of all, that's already the first hurdle,
That is for me, too.
right?
Well, and I've heard people say, again, it's just odd when a guy goes, oh, I only date this certain type, or I don't date black girls, or I don't date Asians or white girls, or whatever.
Yeah, I guess you got a lot of options, I guess.
Right. How confident are you in yourself
Yeah.
that you think you can just cut out an entire population of people?
Yeah.
That's like nuts.
I guess it is.
It's crazy ego. It's not, again,
Egos.
it's not even like, oh, that's like weird for you to say, oh, that's like, maybe you have a preference that's bad or whatever. It's just like, you have such a big ego that you think you can find somebody that is your soulmate in a certain group of people.
Right.
It's odd.
Yeah. No. I think I just cast a wide net and see what bites.
Yeah. I don't think black girls like me. That is one of the things I've noticed.
To the choir.
Yeah. It's the 5'7".
Yeah. No,
They don't.
I think for me it's the 5'7", 5'7" brother.
Yeah. Let's
But
go,
you know,
dude.
we're 6'7", we stand on our own. We're 6'7", we stand on our own.
Yeah, according to little, who was it? Who said that? Lil Yachty?
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, I looked.
Little Yachty said that?
Or no, was it Lil Uzi Vert?
Could be.
I think it was Lil Uzi Vert who said
5'7".
that.
I could see Lil Uzi Vert being 5'7".
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
But anyways,
All right.
correct. It's the 5'7" in us.
I'm like picturing his music video in my head. Where he's standing in the Hummer. Yeah, 5'7".
Yeah.
So Hummer 6 foot tall.
Right, so it is what it is. I pick up on whoever comes by. I think you do too.
That's true.
I don't-
Speaking of which, how is your love life? We don't have to go to the past, but I want to talk about the future.
Yeah, for sure.
You got any little bitties hopping around?
We got this.
We?
You and me. I got.
My group of guys. We've been stalking a certain woman.
No, it's not a woman. It's a teenage boy.
Perfect.
We're Kevin Spacey fan base, actually. That's what we call ourselves.
The Kevin Spacers.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. So we I keep saying we.
The royal we. I get you.
I'm talking to this girl right now who I work with,
At
I
Cabo?
guess, yeah.
Cabo romance.
So we've like been flirting. She canceled on me 3 times.
Okay.
Like last minute, canceled.
3 times.
And so I was like, I'm done.
Okay.
And then she brought up hanging out a week later.
Okay.
And now we have plans this Sunday to hang out. All on her
So today.
this Sunday, this upcoming Sunday.
So next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Because we're recording this on Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. I never know how that works. Is this Sunday today?
For me, it's next Sunday.
Next Sunday. Okay.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday. So next Sunday we have plans.
Right. Because we're still in this Sunday.
We're still in this Sunday right
now.
now.
You say Sunday, I'm like, oh, later after this podcast.
So does that change at midnight? Is that how that rule works?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so it changes. Okay.
We don't have to change who you are. But if I'm going to try to make sense of it, it's next Sunday.
It's next Sunday. Mm-hmm. So she asked me, she was like, we should hang out next Sunday. I was like, I'm free.
A part of my trolling brain is like, you should cancel on her.
Yeah, right. I should just show her how it feels.
Yeah, exactly.
Give her
some of her medicine. But also the lonely guy part of me is like, don't. Just definitely be there.
But if now, because the 3 times beforehand, I pushed. I was like, when are you free? Let's hang out. Then I stopped that completely. Now she set it up. She's asked. She's proposed the day.
Yeah.
And all I've done is say yes.
Okay.
So, but I don't know. These girls are weird.
Yeah, girls are weird.
Girls are weird. I don't understand them. I feel like this is a weird game she's playing. I don't know if this is a part of her personality. I don't know.
Could be. But I also know people are busy.
Yes.
People can get busy.
Yes.
When you asked me to do this, it was perfect because it was literally, I usually don't do anything early Sunday, so this was perfect. Ask. But if you would ask me the last 2 days, no, definitely not. Too busy. And that's,
really?
Yeah. And
you're working on other stuff?
Yeah.
What are you working on? Because we kind of skipped past that a little bit.
The biggest iron in the fire right now is me and Matt Alvarez. When we moved in together, we were just getting to know each other. You know, I knew him before, but we weren't that close. But now he had a breakup or whatever, and he needed a new place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And so he asked me because he knew I had a spare room. And we're getting to know each other, and he talks about, I think you'll like this a lot, actually.
Okay.
He works at Creek as a door guy.
Yeah.
And he's telling me all these funny stories about being a door guy, and I know a lot of stories about Creek, and I've heard stories and rumors and stuff like that. And I'm like, one day we were just like, he told me the story, and it was about Luis J. Gomez, about how he, it was in the middle of not rush hour, but like peak time at Creek, and there was a long line to the boys' restroom, and Luis pulls up, and he goes into the girls' restroom without any hesitation.
Luis Gomez.
Luis J., yeah. And he comes out, and he's like, we can just beat him up, right? We can just use the girls' bathroom. They can't stop us. And all the guys started going to the girls' restroom, and Matt had to be like, oh, whoa, hey, wait up. What are you doing? And he told that story, and I'm like, dude, wouldn't that be cool if we could turn that into a sketch?
Yeah.
And then that evolved into, dude, let's write a sketch, a series of stuff that happens at the Creek. Because we were bringing up all these stories about other stories about the Creek and all the weird stuff that happens. And I'm like, let's, we both, I don't want, that's a big part. He's one of the biggest parts of it. But basically, we started writing a sitcom, short form, 1 to 2 minutes, sitcom of these stories that happen at Creek, and we're calling it the Door Guys or Door Guys. It's like a workplace comedy, basically.
I think Matt may have mentioned this, but he didn't go into this much detail.
Right. And so last Friday, we just got done filming our first sketch.
Really?
Yeah. So
how was it? How'd you feel?
It was great. So Ryer Cameraman,
awesome.
Grant Wheeler,
Awesome.
Roman Schmidt,
Great.
myself, and Matt. We're all. I'll be playing the manager, and Matt and the others will be playing door guys. And basically, it's a comedy about me hiring these young guys to work at the club, and we're just gonna film.
When are you
sketches.
releasing it?
So right now we're just trying to film. That's,
Okay.
Well, first of all, the first thing was months and months of writing. We have like 30 plus scripts right now, plus hundreds of
ideas
and ideas. So that was our first step.
So you're cooking.
We are cooking. Right now, things are rendering out. Things are sitting in the pot, but we got all the ingredients are there. All the mise en place is there. So this is huge.
I love when this happens because you're getting this look in your eye.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about this, yeah, you just
The
lit up a
same
little
look
bit.
when I see a cake. So I'm trying to get the laugh. Well, anyways.
Yeah, so you got a lot of premises and you got 30 plus scripts.
Yeah. So the second hurdle was getting permission from
Creek and
the Cave.
Yeah.
And that took some time. The cool thing is that at Creek, they started to get to know me more. I started volunteering. I started filming for some things. Like I got to film for Netflix's A Joke auditions.
Oh, wow.
So
How was that?
That was great. They paid me. I got a nice, cool pay stub from Creek in the Cave.
That's
so I could
awesome.
say that I worked for them. And then during South by, I got to actually be a door guy for the weekend. And that was amazing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And finally, when all things were said and done, they looked at a proposal because we had a proposal. We filmed a sketch.
Okay.
Like a preliminary sketch of interviews and just written dialogue and stuff. And they loved it. And so we got permission to film at Creek. So last Friday we filmed for the first time. The 2 Fridays before that. Before that.
The boom decline. Big Island man.
Big ups to us at the Creek. The Creek in the Cave. And that's Mother.
Wow.
Let me turn this. Sorry, Mom, I'm working.
Yeah, you're in the middle of something really important.
Yeah. But the last 2 Fridays before the film, we filmed Friday. We did table reads, and man, things are just chugging along, and we're excited. I think this Monday we're gonna film some nighttime scenes. I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen because the more work we do, the more our proof of concept becomes more serious, and there's a lot of things we want to accomplish. The biggest thing is to get Shane to do a cameo.
Shane Gillis.
And I think we can do it eventually. That's the big goal. And then the more lofty ideas is that we think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we all watch sitcoms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the future is short form television.
It already is here.
Yeah, it is here.
Yes.
So it's not a big prediction, but I think it's going to get bigger. I think in the future, companies like Hulu, Twitter, Instagram, it doesn't matter, TikTok, we'll see there's a viability to pay people to create content on a bigger scale at that small short form scale.
Yes.
To where you're going to be watching sitcoms 1 or 2 minutes at a time.
Well, and I know that this is different, but you see what Al Berry's doing with his animations?
Yeah, Al Berry's a great example of what
I mean, are you kidding me? I know it's different, but similarly, we're talking about, sometimes the small animation shorts. Yeah. I don't know if that would be a disrespectful way to put them.
No, I think if you boil it down, that's what they are.
Right. So the small animation shorts sometimes connect, sometimes don't. They always take on something kind of current that's going on.
Yeah.
And they're all well done. He fucking voice acts all of them. It's the new South Park.
Right.
He's the new South Park.
Yeah.
And there's another guy, his name's Meat Canyon. I don't know, do you know who Meat Canyon is? Yeah. So, I mean, that's another great example of these high animation, quick, 3-minute videos, out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So, without the currency, I guess, or the relevancy of what's happening in popular culture, what we're trying to encapsulate is kind of like The Office meets Tires meets Curb Your Enthusiasm, but in a short form.
Yeah.
And also, the major goal here is to get Creek to put Creek on notice, in the sense that we want to build around Creek and the Cave, because I think you agree with it. Creek is the club.
It's the home base.
It's home base for a lot of comics. It's home base for a lot of comedy lovers. And it's like no shade to the Mothership or no shade to Sunset. It's like
That's a walled garden.
That's a walled. Yeah, thank you. That's the perfect way of putting it. And it's like Creek. You can hang out at Creek and hang out with the comics that you just saw on stage.
Yes.
And every comic, from open micer to headliner, will be out in the back in some form or another, or at the bar. And we kind of like the lore of that, and we want to present it in a visual sense that, hey, Creek is the place you can come and be a part of it all.
That's great, man.
Yeah, and so
that's fucking great.
We want to build the notoriety of Creek in the Cave because we love it so much.
Well, and I'm gonna throw this out there. Yeah. I would love if you and Matt came on together this podcast and talked about it before it was released, or even shortly after it was released.
Yeah.
I'd really much like to hear both of you guys talk about this and talk about your creative process together.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely will happen.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
And again, whenever, just text me. Text me.
No, Matt was sleeping. I could have woke him up, right? We'll thing on Sunday mornings for sure.
Awesome.
But just like me, he's busy too, man. He's got to work the Creek. He's got tutoring jobs, and he works at a smoke shop too. So,
well, he's a grinder.
He's a grinder, and the cool thing about working with Matt and having him around is that the guy can accomplish things. And no offense to other comics, but sometimes they kind of get lost in the sauce, and they're kind of like project hoppers and stuff.
Yes.
And Matt is somebody that is kind of like a pit bull, and once he's got a hold of something, he'll hang on to it.
That's awesome.
And at least for myself, I can be a bit of a project hopper too, but like if I got the right people around me, I blossom, man. I'm ready to work, put in the work.
That's great.
I was telling my buddy, he's a non-comic, he's just my best friend, but it was that Friday after we went bowling and stuff, and I was exhausted. I was like, 4 hours of filming, and we were outside too, so it was like one of the warmer, it's like one of these warmer days and stuff. But I was telling him, I was like, dude, like trying to chase your dreams in your 30s is hard.
Yeah. So
it's nice to have young blood flowing near or around me to motivate me to be like, we could. It's not impossible.
No,
it's not impossible to accomplish these things.
No, not at all.
And it's like the more and more I do it, the more and more that feeling of like creating and performing and doing that sort of thing. That's what I've always wanted to do. It's just I've been denying that part of my life my whole life because it's like money is important, family is important, stuff like that, which they are. Lately I've been kind of like really money hungry because I want to use that money to accomplish my other goals.
Yep.
Which in the past before I was like, money, it comes and goes.
It
doesn't matter. But now it's just like, money.
Right.
Because money is like like the fire, the fuel for the fire.
Yeah.
For other things.
And it always gives you. It's always like coupons to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's really big when you're trying to do a show or when you're trying to produce something or when you're trying to do sketches. Yeah. You need cameras, you need microphones, you need, you might need to pay for to rent out a space or something along those lines. Yeah. Computers, all of those things you need money for.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and we're very blessed with Creek because they usually charge people to film there. And we're going to do it free because Matt's been working there for years now, and I'm starting to become like a little part of it too. And
that's awesome.
They're trusting us more and more every week as we go along.
That's awesome. And dude, I always get really excited about projects that can't fail. And it seems like you've set this up in a way where you have funny people.
Yeah.
You and Matt are a great combo. together. You work well together, you're telling me. You have how many ideas, how many scripts already set out? You haven't even started yet, really. I mean, you've kind of laid out the groundwork, but you haven't gotten it moving yet, or just started because you just shot that. And then on top of that, if you're having fun while you're doing it, which I imagine you are, just the way you're talking about it, then what's going to stop you?
Nothing. I mean, there's a million things that externally can happen.
Sure.
But for now, things are, the weather's clear, and with anything, obstacles will come and go. I mean, this is a little way too behind the scenes, but we casted somebody originally for one of the parts, but he couldn't do it because he started working again, and we had to recast. But I think it was kind of like what is it called when like something unexpectedly happens, but it comes out for the better?
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but
it's
blessing in disguise.
A blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you watched Breaking Bad? I think you said we've talked about this. Yeah. Mike Ehrmantraut was a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that character. Bob Odenkirk couldn't play Saul for an episode. The episode where Jesse's girlfriend's overdoses.
Yeah.
So they wrote Mike Ehrmantraut, the character, just on the fly.
Yeah, the fixer, yeah.
And all of a sudden now, he's been the character's been in 2 TV shows.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of that happens when you do these sorts of projects, and the success is sort of dependent upon how well you roll with the punches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. And I think if you and Matt just stay together, I know you named a bunch of people. All of them are talented. Yeah. I don't want to discredit any of the people you just mentioned, but some people are going to come and go.
That's true.
It's just the reality of it, right? I'm not going to name any names, right? Because I don't know. I really don't know. I know probably someone out of the people you just mentioned, probably, anything could happen. They get busy, they move, something tragic happens, who knows? Right. But as long as you and Matt stay together, you guys can really fucking get something going. Also, with Matt does drink.
Not as much.
Not as much.
Now, if you go to his Monday mics, that's like the only time he gets like.
Oh, okay.
Gets loose, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really like drink.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
No.
So because I was kind of wondering, with that, you being sober a lot, does that interfere at all?
No. Not at all. No.
Perfect.
That's been like a positive change to my health. He got me on carnivore for a month this one time, and he goes walking with me, that sort of thing. We've gone to the gym together. So no, Matt is just a positive force in my life, which I
That's
really
great.
appreciate. And hate the guy, but
yeah.
No, he's great. No, Matt is awesome, and we do work well together too. And it's so great because we can like bitch and moan to each other about certain things,
right?
And it's never like it's never serious.
No,
it's like we're brothers almost. Like it's, how many brothers do you
have? So I have one sister.
And you fought with her before. Right?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah,
and
in the end, you're just like.
You're great.
Yeah,
you're great.
Yeah.
And I grew up. My cousins lived with me. My 2 older cousins lived with me. So I always say I basically grew up with 2 brothers.
Yeah. And that's great when you have like relationships that are friends, but they mimic more like family. It's better for friendships, I think.
Especially when you're working on something together.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
this.
And I there's a lot of good back and forth with me and Matt. We're learning ourselves while we're doing this as well. Like back in the day, in my early 20s, I used to be part of like film crews and stuff like that. Just like, on a very small level, but it really, now that I'm embarking on this thing, it's like I kind of wish I would have went to film school, but I don't know. It's also, there's a lot of rules I don't know, so maybe I'm breaking some things, but also at the same time, I appreciate the art form. I respect it in all forms, acting too, like and directing and filming and stuff like that. And we got a lot of hats on, me and Matt. But since we're learning together, there's not a lot of like headbutting.
Sure.
and that's important.
Yeah, and you guys are both really understanding people.
Yeah.
Especially you. You're very, this shit happens, I get where you're coming from sort of type of guy.
Yeah.
And so for projects like these where, and I don't want to shit on your parade. I really don't. You could be doing this though for 2 years with little to no success.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's not going to be amazing. That doesn't mean...
No, I think what is amazing is that we're just doing it.
Yes,
and I think that's why it's going to work out.
And I think if you keep and I haven't even seen the product, but if you start this, I say 5 years from now, you keep doing it consistently, you keep putting out the best product, people will fucking notice.
Oh, yeah.
They have to.
They have to, because it's being done. Yeah, any endeavor is interesting, right? It's really it's almost like, hey, who the fuck are you? Because nobody asked for this.
Right.
Nobody asked for this, but me and Matt, or anybody or anybody you included with the podcast, it's like, nobody asked for this. Why are you doing it? It's like, I don't know, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And then maybe one day people will start caring, and then that's how you build fan bases and stuff.
I've always gone on sort of this gut feeling of things.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy was a gut feeling. The podcast was a gut feeling. The show I'm doing with Courtney is sort of a gut feeling. Yeah. And it's all been this gut feeling of, you're going to have moments of doubt, and you're going to have these days of feeling like it's going nowhere. But if you just keep showing up, Joey Diaz always says this, and I think about it all the time. You know what? If no one else is watching, the universe is.
Yeah. Okay, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not really religious in any sort of sense. Mm-hmm. I guess I am agnostic because I think that there has to be something greater.
Right.
But I like the term the universe is watching, because whatever that sort of includes God, if there is one.
Yeah.
So whatever's watching is going to be watching you and Matt work on all this shit, and if you keep working consistently for 4 years, 5 years, however long it takes, I think the universe will reward you.
Yeah, I sum it up, at least in my mind, as like the fruits of labor.
Yes.
Like, you don't plant a tree and expect it to blossom.
No.
Fruit the first year. It takes time, and anything worthwhile, is hard. So, because it is hard, it's not easy. The fact that we had to wait for permission was tough in itself. There was doubts, of course. It was like, why are we even doing this? Nobody's asking for it. Nobody cares. Honestly, the creek doesn't need us to do this at all. But
No.
I think in the future, we're going to look back and be like, oh, this was so good. We got to do this.
Yeah.
For Creek and for ourselves. Because the hope is that we do this and we gain experience, right? Like everything we do is a lesson within itself, and the more lessons you do, the more wise and the skills you build over time. It's not. I always ask this: is like, does it move the needle? And even if it moves it a little bit, it's still moving the needle towards something.
Yes.
And I've gotten to the point to where I try not to live in the results of things. I just try to live in the now.
Yeah.
In the sense that we're just doing something. And we're just trying to accomplish something, and it doesn't matter what the end result is. It's just as long as there's a result. If we do it and we become failures, hey, that's just a lesson learned. If we do it and we become successful, that's great. That's great too. Because I learned one thing. I've never talked about publicly, but except for like close comic friends, is that I got to do Ryan and Friends at Creek in the Cave.
Okay.
And it was 6 minutes. I got the spot because I did. I barked for the show, and I sold the most tickets.
Okay.
And Ryer had a spot open on his show, because Ryer's a man now, and he gave me the opportunity.
It's Ryer or Ryder?
Ryer.
Ryer
Cameron.
Okay. I think I've called him Ryder a couple times. Yeah. Ryer, my bad.
You put some respect on him.
No, he's great. I saw Ryer do stand-up comedy before I did stand-up. Sorry. You were in the middle of your story, but go ahead. Yeah.
No.
No, I saw Ryer before I did stand-up at the Fallout Theater.
Yeah.
A year before I did stand-up, and it gave me a really big eye-opening because he was so funny.
Yeah.
Even 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking about starting it, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I wish Ryer was somebody I watched early on because Ryer's a big part of why I love to do comedy. He's given me a lot of opportunities. The opportunity at the mothership was directly Ryer.
Really?
And Ryer put my name
That's awesome.
on the list without I signed up and Ryer guaranteed that I get on. Sure enough.
He's great and he's so cool.
Yeah.
He's awesome. But you were saying
6 minutes I got to do
Yep.
for Ryan Friends. This is when I think I was a little bit more naive about comedy and stand up. Was I did the best 6 minutes I've ever got to accomplish. It was in the room was not sold out but practically filled up, and Matt, before I even got to before we moved in, he DM'd me. He was like, "Dude, you're crushing right now." And I remember before getting up, I was I was doing breathing exercises in the green room, or like that little room in between the green room and the stage. And I went up and I got up and I told my jokes, had a good time, got off. It felt amazing. And the next day I woke up and I was like, "Oh, that was it. That's all that was." I did a good set.
Yeah.
In a big room, in a big show, and it's time to move on to the next thing. That was when I learned that comedy is what can you do now and not what you did. It's about moving forward and not living with the results. Just live for the results.
Yeah.
Or not, well, whatever.
I got it. I got it. Yeah.
Just like, just keep on moving. There's no stopping. And I think and I think I'm going to learn more lessons as I get older. Like if there's a point in my career where I'm performing every weekend, or I'm on multiple shows or something like that, or when I become a feature, it doesn't matter. It's just you keep moving because there's no end. I mean, if you look at all the big 1%er comics, that's how their mentality is too.
Yeah, that's
just
awesome.
Just because you headline Madison Square Garden doesn't mean you don't have to do a show. I was gonna say some dumb name. Just like a small town the next weekend because that's what was scheduled on your tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just try to put on the best performance you can.
And
every time.
If you keep the same mentality you have with stand-up comedy with this sketch show, there's no way that it will fail.
No,
there's no way.
And the truth is it's like hopefully whatever, if we can do this, what can we accomplish next? And it is mind-boggling to be like, is there ever an end? I don't think there is ever an end.
No.
I think people that finally like stop. I think that's why people like get freaked out by like Elon Musk or all these billionaires. And why they're so crazy,
right,
is because they understand it too. There is no end. There's always something to accomplish, and you just can't stop. And it seems exhausting. I know I'm exhausted just thinking about it, but that's just the way it works. I think that's just the way of the world.
Yeah.
Like unless you're like a oil trillionaire, just sitting on oil, and that's all that. But even their lives are, probably a trap in itself.
Yeah.
And they have to hire Instagram models to poop on them. That's the only thing that makes them feel
Yeah. And I think if you do keep exactly what you just said to me, that same approach to, the sketch show, the only way that it fails is if you stop making it.
Yeah, and that's with everything.
Yeah.
That's with everything. If I stop writing, if you stop writing.
Right.
If we stop performing. That's it. That really is the end of it. And that's it. And honestly, I look forward to just doing everything until I just can't.
Right.
I'm forced to stop.
Right.
By an external thing. And it's just like my younger self would be like, "Oh God, that sounds so like it just sounds so tiresome and unending." But I'm just like, no, this is the way it is.
But you get enjoyment from it. You get enjoyment from
I don't know about this. I don't know if you feel the same way I feel sometimes, but when I'm doing things that aren't like accomplishing something, I kind of get bored. I'm like, oh man, this is boring. Like I'd rather be somewhere else or doing something else to accomplish something, or making money, or like trying to network. Is this thing what I'm doing moving the needle towards what I want or what I want to do?
All right. Well, I did want to bring up one more thing about what you said earlier. You said that the sketch show isn't probably going to talk about culture moments so much like South Park.
Right.
But I think
Only within the constraints of only in the constraints of how soon can we film it and edit it and release it.
right,
Yeah.
right, that makes sense. But also, I think just your premise
Yeah.
is sort of about the culture.
Yeah, we could.
Like I think stand-up comedy is so big right now,
Yeah.
and it's such a big part of our American culture, whether you like to admit it or not. It's huge.
Yeah.
And there's 3 cities, that's it, where this large part of the culture is taking place. It's New York City, it's LA, and it's Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And then if you're talking about the home base of one of those 3 major cities, you kind of are talking or at least getting to some part of the culture. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I think one of the big inspirations for the show was a show called Crashing
Okay.
by the name Pete Holmes,
Okay.
the comedian. He had a show on HBO called Crashing, and it was about him being open micer to a touring comic to being a headliner or whatever,
Okay.
and all the little minutia that it takes to become a comic or whatever. But the show's very unrealistic, in my opinion. And no offense to Pete Holmes, I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's a big fan of mine.
Right. But when I think about that show, I'm like, this is the most unrealistic version of what comedy is. And it's like, and I'll give you a quick, rundown. He's an open micer. He goes to New York. He does, I think it's called Boston, Stand Up Boston or something like that in New York City.
Okay.
And then he becomes friends with like Artie Lang. And then Artie Lang takes him on tour. And then it's just like,
yeah, it's boom.
every other
boom.
episode, it's boom, boom, it escalates. And that's great. But I'm like, that's not real.
No.
That to me is not real.
No.
The real minutia of working the door at a club is more real to me. And I think we can accomplish that through this show, but also try to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Because the realities of stand-up, and this is what I try to tell my friends that don't do stand-up and they're curious about my stand-up pursuits, is that it's not as cool as you think it is.
No. People romanticize it.
Yeah.
And people romanticize it like in the past. So like Joe Rogan will talk about, being an open micer and what that was like with Joey Diaz and Ari Shaffir, but in those moments, the day to day, it's like, fuck, how am I gonna make this 3 minutes work?
Yeah.
And going up and bombing 4 times.
Going up and like meeting people, and then having to deal with the comedy fan, having to work and also try to accomplish your dreams. So it's a more realistic aspect of how starting to do comedy can be like, and it should be interesting. I think Matt's definitely said this before. Is like, I think our first fans will definitely be comics, open mic.
Yeah.
Because they can relate to what's happening.
Yes.
In the show with us.
Yeah.
And we have, and the thing that's about our show too, it's like, it is very like Always and Sunny-esque in the sense that nothing really happens.
Yeah.
From episode to
sure.
episode, but we do have an overarching arc of characters and like things that are going to happen as we go along through the thing. So I think the cool thing is that we call it, you know what brain rot is, right?
Yeah.
That's a big word used nowadays about how people treat content and
right
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we just want to create brain rot that actually has a storyline that people can just
interesting.
And then if they really like the show, they can go back, right? Maybe they see the episode where we have a big comic, right? Do a cameo, because that's one of our goals, is to get multiple big comics to cameo eventually, and that gets viral. And what will happen is that they're like, oh, this show seems cool, let's start from episode 1. And then they can do it.
You get the binge fans.
Yeah, the binge fans, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little goal of ours.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talking about accomplishing, going back to your question about if I feel like I'm not accomplishing something, do I keep doing it or do I get bored?
Yeah.
Well, a great example of that would be this podcast. I mean, I've had it for 4 years. I've done it on and off. This is probably the most consistent I've been with it ever. probably. There was a couple times, when me and Dom were working on it together, we probably got pretty consistent, and it hasn't moved much.
Yeah.
But also, the product is so much better.
Yeah.
I'm so much more comfortable talking to people.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at trying to figure out what's going on with this person right now.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I want to do. And talk about stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really the two goals of this podcast. Everything else is just dick jokes, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even though that I'm not accomplishing something, I woke up today and I was like, I get to talk to Kenny Buttons today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yesterday, I was at work for 12 hours. I was like, dude, but tomorrow you get to talk to Kenny Buttons for 2 hours. You know how cool that is? How many people get to do that?
No.
I get to do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, when I'm not doing comedy related things, I'm just like, I wish I was doing something comedy. Whether it's something simple. You know what I really do a lot? A lot of my time in comedy is spent taking photos.
Yeah.
Because I'm a photographer.
Yes.
I've been a photographer a long time.
Important too.
Yeah, I was doing photography for more than I've done anything really. Is photography. And a lot of the things I get to do in the scene is take photos and get paid for it, which is great. A lot of it is me watching other comics, which is amazing. It teaches me a lot of things. And maybe I'm not on stage, but I'm there. I'm learning something. It can be kind of boring, but at the same time, it's like, no, this is beneficial to everything. And then when I come, God, hopefully I get blessed with a long and successful career. I can look back and be like, I can pinpoint. I was like, all those years, I was an open micer. I was at clubs taking photos, listening to other comics that where I want to be, and then I can point back to that and be like, that's where I got my education from.
I want to respond to what you said. Yeah. I've had to pee for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Can we take a break and we'll come right back? All right.
Around.
Sounds good.
How much?
And we are back. Sorry about that, Kenny. I was pinching my cheeks there a little bit.
Happy to see me. Kind of like my dogs. They start dancing around.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's time to go to the bathroom now. But I'm happy because I'd rather have that than you pee yourself.
Yeah.
And this is carpeted floor. So
yeah, that would be bad.
That would be tough.
It's good that you took me outside. You know what I mean? But we were talking about photography.
Yeah.
And I think photography is a very underrated thing in comedy because
God, you need it.
You can have a show, and then nobody fucking knows that it happened.
Bro, yeah, exactly. It's like if somebody, it's like the whole if the tree fell in the forest and nobody was there to hear it.
Did it fall?
Did it fall at all? No, you need. I think every showrunner should hire a photographer.
Yes.
Maybe that's very biased or whatever, but. You need it. You need it. If you got a show and if you don't have a photographer, I think you're either really successful and don't need it, or I don't think your show lasts.
No. Well, here's the problem with that. Kill Tony has photographers.
Yeah, of course.
And do they need photographers? No.
But I bet they needed it before.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I mean, Kill Tony has a type of photography which is video. So that's the proof right there. So they don't need photographers, but because they have the video. But it is nice to have a curated, because photography and video can be very different, because you can to have just pleasing visuals. Photography can accomplish that pretty easily because you can adjust the settings and lighting and everything like that, and you can just grab little pinpoints of things that are happening at the show, and it's cool. And you know how it is with social media these days. Everybody has to see something. You basically, the modern way of getting anything accomplished is just creating a FOMO, just the fear of missing out. And photography does that.
Yes, it does.
Because one of the biggest things I do for my clients is take photos of people laughing.
Yeah.
That's more important, I think, than actually taking photos of the comics.
Yeah.
Because when the ad goes up for the next show, they're putting photos of the photographers, but they're leading off with that picture of a lady, just cackling or whatever. So.
And there's something so contagious.
Yeah.
About seeing a genuine person laughing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that in and of itself always creates a FOMO.
Yeah.
If you see a group of guys hanging out and they're laughing,
yeah.
you're automatically like, what's going on? What are you guys laughing?
Yeah, exactly.
And that you can get that with photography and posting it on social media, and people want to go and check out the show and see what's going on. You said something too interesting about yourself going to the shows and photographing is it's sort of an education for you.
That's right.
I think of how many times I go watch stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, you get an idea.
Yeah.
Just because you're there, you're in that atmosphere, you're around people laughing, and then you're going to think about your own bits.
Yeah.
Probably selfishly, right?
Yeah, of course. That's why open mics are so lame.
Yes.
Because nobody's paying attention. They're just trying to selfishly think about their own material.
Right.
They're not even paying attention to what you say.
Exactly.
That's why the best open mics for people are there where the ratio's good. And what I mean by the ratio is that there's a good audience to open micer ratio.
Yes.
Because if it's all open micers, you're in for a you're in for a
rough ride. Yeah.
Yeah, and but if you got a lot of audience, you can really truly gauge if something's funny or not.
Yes.
And that's important too because you need feedback, right?
But again, going back to you being there.
Yeah.
It's like huge for you because you get to number one get a free show.
Yeah.
I mean you're getting paid to be there, but you're also getting to watch stand-up comedy for free.
I would say that's a benefit. Getting paid to actually learn something or see something beneficial to your craft is better than doing it for free. But hey, take it or not, take it or leave it.
Yes.
I would say just you don't know how many times I've gone to the Creek just to see the feature acts. They have a thing called Creek Feature, and I've been. Do you know who Joe DeRosa is?
Yes. Yeah.
We're Breaking Bad fans, and Better Call Saul. He had a small role, but if you don't know who that is, Joe DeRosa has been in a couple of TV shows. Louis, I want to say, in Better Call Saul.
Yep.
But he's one of my favorite comics right now, and I love to see him. He's in town. He's in town a lot. And
okay.
He does something called Creek Feature, where they give the comic 20 minutes, and Joe's out there working his thing. He's been, he's a super veteran, and he's not the most mainstream comedian, but man, just watching him work and try out new ideas is beneficial to me, and it's just like I learn a lot watching Joe, because I feel like me and Joe has already found his voice, and I like his voice. His voice is kind of sarcastic, sardonic, and it's like that's kind of the path I want to go. But it's also lighthearted and fun.
Yeah.
And it's just like he comes off as a likable person as well, because he's kind of like this curmudgeon too, and I think people gravitate towards that. They like somebody who's complaining and saying things that are like kind of asshole-less. Like no, without the context, they come off as an asshole. But with context, it's like, oh, that's very funny.
Yeah.
I think that way as well.
Yes.
And it's like, look at him saying it on stage, and that's very funny. And so I really try to not replicate what he does, but it inspires me to be more like that. So,
right. And then you might watch him do a bit, right? And he might talk about it in a way where it clicks in your mind about how maybe you should talk about your own bit in that way. Yeah. Especially if you like the way he's doing stand-up comedy and you feel like it relates to you.
Yeah.
And so, again, maybe that's a selfish way of thinking, but I don't think comics can really get away from that. No. But you're getting that benefit of like, it might help you fix your bit that might not be working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Joe's a big inspiration. And I'll nobody's paying me to be there, but I'm there for free. And
that's huge.
I go in, and because people at Creek know me, and they're like, hey, just go on in. Don't be a. I think the one of the big reasons why I like going to Creek is because they know me, because they know I'm not drinking. I'm not trying to get free drinks out of them. I'm not trying to take advantage of them, and I'm there, and I'm trying to be a positive force for the club. So I think that's why I love Creek. God damn it.
Yeah.
Because it's I can't walk into the mothership to do that.
No. No.
I couldn't do that. And it's like I can do that at Sunset because I know a lot of the door guys there, but Creek to me is just a better vibe.
Yes.
It's a better vibe there because once you're done watching the show, you can head out back, and guess what? All your friends are back there too. You know, and it's like, hey, let's hang out, let's sit in a circle and talk about our day, or just try to run bits with each other.
Even if I'm leaving the creek, I always go check out who's in the back.
Yeah.
Go say hi or whatever. Hey, I got to get out of here. But still, you do get that sense of community.
Yeah.
Creek has kind of built that.
Yeah.
Really well.
Exactly. And I'll, one of the naivetes of when I was a younger comic, I guess if you want to call it that way, is what I learned is that you got to show your face. You got to show face. You got to be like, hey, I'm still here.
Yes.
Maybe I'm not getting booked as much, but hey, I'm still around, and I haven't quit or anything. And then,
right. That's huge.
And I've gotten opportunities like that. A lot of people see me, even though they're performing and I'm not. I'm taking photos. They're like, oh, look, Kenny's here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and what's great is now when I do open mics, I get a lot of just preliminary applause and excitement because people know me. People have heard of me.
Yeah.
And that's nothing I got early on. It's like now I'm starting to become a staple inside of the open micing community.
And I know you don't want to toot your own horn, so I'll toot it for you. It's also you're an enjoyable guy to be around.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean? People see you and they're like, oh my God, I want to go talk to Kenny. Kenny's a cool guy to be around. I want to see what he, whatever. Maybe they want to riff with you, whatever they get out of you. But you're a good fucking guy.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You are a force of positivity.
Yeah, that's what I try to be. Well-meaning, positive. And that's something that was kind of difficult to come to terms with. I can't tell you how many times I've gone home or I'm talking to another comic I'm closer with where I'm just like, I don't think anybody likes me here.
Really?
Yeah, I know, you're in disbelief, but
yeah.
I promise you, the insecure part of me was definitely that way.
Huh.
And I get it a lot these days where it's just like, Kenny, you got to drop that shit, because if you do that, you're not going to go on stage with that the swagger you need to get the audience on your side, because you're all up in your dumb head and your insecurity, and people are going to sniff that out. And once they realize you're insecure and not confident, the ideas you want to present on stage are not going to work, because you're coming at it in a very beta way,
yes.
You're not the alpha you need to be on stage. And it's like, I know I'm built like a beta simp, but I'm kind of like a alpha sigma kind of guy.
Yeah, you're a big boom to clap.
Yeah, exactly. Make that pussy turn red. And people enjoy that, man. People enjoy that I'm going up there, and the things that I'm saying are not like the cool guy thing to say, but that's not me.
No.
But as long as I can say it as, oh, this is cool. Yeah. I had 4 tablespoons of dick butter or whatever. People are like, oh, hell yeah. I totally get that. Yeah.
There, simply, Courtney told me, I think last Friday, he said, half of doing stand-up comedy is convincing the crowd that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's half of it.
That's half.
The other half is the material, the jokes, the setups, the punchlines. All that's great and important too. Yeah. But going up and convincing them that you know what you're doing is huge.
It's huge. Yeah, because people want to see somebody who's been doing this. It can't be. It's either way. Either it's your first time and you get some sympathy laughs and applause, and that's great, but you can only use it once.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless you're a freak and you're like, every time you go up, this is my first time. Just
to
get that feeling of excitement or whatever. Or you go up there and you show that you've been doing this for a while.
Right.
And even if something fails to launch, you're not, because this is a thing I used to do all the time where I would just freak out on stage, not physically, but just mentally. And it just, everything falls apart.
Right.
Which now I got to the point to, if something doesn't work, I just move on. There's no point. There's no point in lingering on this bad idea or this failed attempt at something. And honestly, a great way to do that is to point that out and just be like, hey, I know that was weird. But this is what we're doing, and here's the next thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can get them with the next thing. And if that doesn't work, maybe sometimes you just keep doing that. You just keep failing upwards, basically.
Right.
You're just failing upwards. And I think at the end of it, people are like, hey, dude, this guy, went up here, said some crazy things, but he was excited to tell us. So let's get, I'm excited to see what else he's got for us next time.
Yeah.
So
I think who said this? Was it Nikki Glazer? I don't know. I think it was Nikki Glazer. I think she said on a podcast I was listening to with Bill Maher, and she said something along the lines of, the first like 10 years you're doing stand-up comedy, nobody knows who you are.
Right.
And when you go up on stage, everybody's first initial reaction is, oh my God, could you imagine if you were doing this?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you went on stage and you just had a microphone and you had to make people laugh?
Yeah.
Like, their first reaction is, I couldn't do that, so I don't know if this person's going to be able to.
Right.
And so the first minute or two, you're just kind of proving to them that you sort of know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And so it's just such a weird thing. And they all say that switches when everybody does know who you are.
Yeah.
Because that, like with Bill Burr, right?
That's that trust you build.
You know Bill Burr knows what he's doing when he touches a microphone.
Exactly. No, that's great. Yeah, that's all about building trust with the crowd. And you have as somebody who isn't known, you got to do that, and you got to do it sooner rather than later.
Yes.
I mean, what advice? Like every book I ever read or advice I ever heard about comedy is you got to have a good first impression, because it's a good foot to stand on, right there. You don't want to dig a hole immediately and try to crawl out of that.
No.
It's tough. It's a tough thing to do, and some of the best do it, and over time you learn to get better at it, and then once you build trust, then you can start digging holes to get out of, because that's when you get the biggest laughs.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh my God, this guy's saying something insane, but oh, here's this really funny rebuttal to my assumptions about the subject, and now I'm laughing because it's like, holy crap, that might be true.
Right.
This person has gaslit me into thinking that was true. It's making me laugh. Because I do believe building tension is so important as a comedian. The ability to build tension and then relieve it is such a great way to get laughter.
Yeah. And tension's a weird thing sometimes when it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no shit.
It's real hard when you can build the tension but can't release it.
Yeah, now you're stuck with people that are just like, God damn, this is bad. Yeah. I'm going to look at my phone.
Yeah.
Because he's not relieving my tension, but maybe this game of Happy Birds.
Right. Yeah. And that's a weird thing, too. I think with us starting out now, is like, you got to you're competing against the iPhone.
Yeah.
Good luck.
No, I was thinking about getting plastic surgery where I get Candy Crush installed in my face, you know. Just to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. So you need the Subway Surfers gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're talking about just constant guys with a knife flipping it.
Yeah.
They're starting to do that with reels and shorts. Have you
noticed that? Yes. Yeah. Huge. You're going to have to do that with your sketch show.
God, you're right. Yeah,
you're going to have to have Subway Surfers.
Minecraft B-roll on the side, while we're trying to tell a narrative.
Yeah.
God, what a sad state of affairs. But hey, man, whatever works.
Yeah.
You know, because if you can accomplish something, you know, if you can grab somebody's attention through that, it's like then you don't have to worry about that later. But I like that idea of having just Twitch play background.
Yeah.
FIFA matches.
Yeah, right.
Wire cameraman scenes, you know.
Yeah, I might wear an iPad as a necklace and just have a bunch of footage on.
That would be a funny idea just to try. Yeah, just like Family Guy clips.
Yeah.
You know. I don't think anybody's ever tried that.
No, I guess I'll try it.
Yeah,
I guess
give it a shot.
I'll be the first.
Yeah.
As Matt Alvarez.
You just get up and you just start playing. Yeah. What's the deal with, whatever you want to say? Dating's hard.
Yeah. I play footage of other stand-up in the background. It's just
put on Dave Chappelle's, killing them softly.
Yeah.
Well, inferior product plays. Like, hey, if it works for the Paul brothers, I'll do it. Oh, for the ladies, you just put an episode of the Kardashians.
Right. Yeah. Well, I talk about, my balls or whatever's going on.
That would get a big laugh. I don't know how long that would Yeah, I would definitely try that for like one of our shorter sets, like
Yes.
a 3-minute set.
Sure. I could do it. I just.
Do you have an iPad?
I think I do somewhere.
Somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You just play YouTube and then just like you got to get like a case and then like a necklace and you just put it on. You're like, hey, Christmas card.
Yeah, that would.
Good to see everybody.
You just don't want to be the iPad guy.
No, but
that's.
If you ever do it, you gotta film it and then post it. 'Cause, like, I think people will be like, "Holy shit, what a genius idea!" And then you could be the first guy to ever do it. You know?
Well, I'm copywriting this right now on this podcast. Anybody who does it from this point on out, you're getting a call from my lawyers.
Yeah. From your parents' lawyers. Yeah.
From my parents' lawyers. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know how it goes.
I know how it goes, man. I've been in litigation before, man. And lawyers are expensive.
I always forget that.
You always forget that.
I do.
Yeah.
You did say something earlier where you said it's good to have a bunch of young guys around you. You feel good.
All right.
When
in context, yeah. With the context that this is not a sexual thing.
Yeah, yes.
It is good to have a bunch of people near or around you, like Aristotle, you know.
Yeah. It's good to have, I think you said directly, young blood.
Yeah, blood, yes. Young, pumping blood in a veiny body. Okay. What am I doing? But no, it is true. The oldest comic I really hang out with is Philip Abraham, and I think I'm his young boy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because I think he's 10 years my senior, and I'm 10 years a lot of you guys seniors. So,
yeah.
It's just it's something that people don't talk enough about is mentorship. I think a lot of the Sigma guys, or like the Alpha guys will tell you, yeah, mentorship is important. I think it's important for comedy as well.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was gonna get to, is like, I know you find benefit having, these young dreamers around you who are like, no, we need to do this. They're like really aggressive. And then you can come at it with your point of view of like, relax.
Yeah, relax.
You know what I mean?
Relax and focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think both of those things can be very productive together.
Yeah. No, we gotta work in symbiosis with all of us, because an older comic will show you all the pitfalls of age, like the things that I've experienced I can share with my younger friends, and young guys can what young guys do is they don't show me any pitfalls, but they show me just like positivity and trying to stay positive, because young guys haven't been beaten down by the world just yet.
Right.
So they're more naive, but like something, I'll tell you this is kind of an embarrassing, it's not that embarrassing, but it's about negativity, and just like Matt told me something and it blew my mind. At 36, I'm just figuring that out. He said he was trying to get me to sign up for something that I was kind of like not sure I was ready for. He wanted me to sign up for Skanks Fest, basically.
Okay.
So I turned in my tape, but I was very hesitant at first, and he was like, dude, why? Why are you hesitating? I was like, I just don't think I'm ready for it. And he was like, does it matter? Why does that matter? Just turn in your tape, because you have it. And if you get it, great. If you don't, you're in the same place you would have been.
Right.
If you didn't turn it in.
Right.
So there's only a positive to be had for this. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. How many things did I not do because I was afraid of the result? But it doesn't matter, because if you did it, maybe you get what you wanted. And if you don't, it doesn't matter, because you weren't going to get it either way if you didn't do it.
Right.
And that pissed me off. It was like, for 36 years, I've been scared to do certain things.
Right.
But I should have just done it. And I bet a lot of school shooters feel the same way. So, those are school shooters are go-getters,
Yeah, well.
There's a lot to be said there. Timothy McVeigh, the guys that did 9/11.
They have balls.
They had balls. Because if they didn't do it, they'd be stuck in the same place. So look at the results that they get. You know, and I'm obsessed with those old songs. That kind of like contradicts what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this. But also be obsessed with them. You know, so I'm hoping I hope you're learning something today, Chris.
Oh, I'm learning a lot, Kenny. I'm learning so much. Our conversations are always very knowledgeable to me.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, and just the wisdom that comes with going with you older guys sometimes is great. Like what was going on with me last year, all the shit that happened and sucked. You were like, hey man, I had a wife, okay? It sucks. Just relax though. Just relax. Get through this. You'll be here.
Yeah.
You know, I think about that conversation we had.
And go after Cabot bunnies for sure. Because that was one of the mistakes I learned. Was like I didn't try to date after my divorce, which was a huge mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now I'm trying to play catch up, and it's just like crap.
Right.
You know, I could have learned those skills that I learned, like on dating apps. It's like dating apps are a different animal because you know you're using text-based words to try to convince a woman that you're worthwhile enough to give a shot with. Because like when I was growing up, women took a lot of chances. You know, they didn't know there was no. I mean, social media was kind of small, but like you didn't have to text a girl to be like, or like, you know, try to convince a girl. You just like showed up, and you were. A lot of times, a lot of things was like I was working with women, and you know this, how this goes. You get to learn and just be around and make them laugh. And they can trust you, but like. That's, you know, I work with a bunch of men, so it's kind of hard to date them. And a lot of them have families. And stuff,
Right,
so
right.
awkward.
Yeah, when you hit on them. Yo, dude, you got a nice bulge on you.
Yeah,
they go,
nice bulge.
they go, I have a family.
Let's go to Fraser's.
You like 7th Street?
Yeah.
You've been on 7th Street before?
7th Street, yeah. Let's go to Shangri-La after work. Abandon your family, come with me. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Swimming in the sea, Kenny. You know?
Yeah. See it.
And no. So dating apps were really daunting at first, but like I got kind of used to it. I kind of have like the words. I kind of have like a whole speech prepared for like the opening line, the opening salvo.
Right.
Just to be like, hey, look, I'm a fun, cool guy, and yeah, we should go on a date, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
I think weird thing with dating apps too now is like, if you are an attractive girl.
Yeah.
You're.
Which I'm not. I think I'm the opposite.
Right. So am I.
You're closer to attractive girl. We're not counting.
Yeah. But
on a scale of
right. But if you're an attractive girl and you're in the 90s, let's say, your dating pool, you know,
was what was around.
It was what was around. You know, you might get a hot guy or maybe just a rich guy at a club if you're lucky. If you're lucky, but you both have to be there at the exact same time. You both have to bump into each other. You both have to strike up a conversation. Yeah. Now it's like if you're a rich guy and you're on the dating apps.
Yeah, all you have to do is show them that.
And all the attractive girls, they see you.
Yeah, if the girls that find that important, will see that, and that's what they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I always I feel like just dating apps are kind of like a pamphlet or like a catalog of men, and women can pick and choose.
Yes.
What they want. And you just gotta put in your catalog what you can offer, right? And what I offer is not great. It's just like. And it's only because I'm just trying to be a better person or just trying to accomplish my goals. But I tell them straight up, it's like, look, I'm kind of a workaholic. I work a lot. I can have fun when I want to.
Sure.
So just be prepared for that. And I think that doesn't help my case. But I also don't want to lie. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, every day's going to be a fucking party with me.
No.
It's not. If you're attracted to hard work and like somebody who's still trying to pursue his dreams, then maybe we'll work out, or maybe we won't.
Right.
Because the last girl I was seeing, that was the problem. Like she was still in the phase of having fun, having a good time, and I'm in the phase of like I got to get things accomplished. And in the end, I did like her and everything, but like at the end, I felt like we didn't connect. I think we connected like physically and just like as people, but just like as our like she just was not as goal oriented as I was, and I had to just drop it and just be like, look, I'm gonna release you back into the world. And then she started dating women, and I was like, perfect. I'm glad I could do that for you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see you happy. The worst part is that she's still on my social media, so I gotta stop that. I gotta just like cut the line because I just see her and how happy she is now, and I'm just like, sweet.
Well,
and I'm over here just like editing furiously.
Yeah.
And just like horny. But at the same time, I just couldn't lie to myself because having sex is great. Coming feels good, as I think most people would agree.
Yes.
But I also don't want to lie to myself and lie to a whole human being and like, what do they call it? Lead people on.
Right.
Because I feel like that's just not the move to do. I think a lot of people have no problem doing that.
Right.
But I don't want to do that. So does that make me a bad or a good person? Doesn't matter. I just got to do what's good for me. And cutting her off was the move.
I think about that scene. Have you seen the movie Whiplash?
Yes.
I think about that scene where... What's the main character's name? I'm forgetting the actor's name and the main character's name.
I know who you're talking about. He has like those weird scars.
Yeah. The main guy who's obsessed with John.
Yeah.
He talks to that girl he's dating and he breaks up with her.
Yeah.
And he lays out everything that's going to happen, essentially, in the relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what that movie's lesson was trying to say, because later in the movie he tries to go back to her and she's already moved on.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that conversation, but then go, hey, here's what it is. You decide what you want.
Yeah.
And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It sounded like...
But I think in the movie he literally stops it, right?
He stops it. He breaks it off.
Because he's like, here's my reasoning, and this is how it's going to be. And that whole mentality of if it works, it works, or if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm still lying to myself. So I'm gonna be the one to be like, hey, we got to stop doing this because I don't want to go through that rigmarole of everything I laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because she was like, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that is kind of an asshole thing to do.
Yeah.
But like, if you can't be an asshole and be selfish, then you're just living for other people's,
Yes.
aspirations. Like I don't think that leads you anywhere. That leads you to nothing.
No.
And it just leads you to, because like I think I've told people this before, but like I'll tell you now. It's just like I think relationships are just all about compromising. Like it's just this big effort to compromise with each other, and like when you boil it even further down, it's just how much time and effort can I give to a person? Am I willing to give up and to take time from my life to give to you and vice versa? And it's just like you kind of have to calculate if the return on investment is gonna be. And it's just like I think men who are with very beautiful women, they sometimes are just like, I can do that. If they're beautiful enough and sexy enough to where I can sacrifice some of that time. But I'm like at an age where I know that looks don't matter that much, and it doesn't stand the test of time. It's more about the personality and who that person is. And with the last girl, I'll just be honest, it's like I just and I think it's just a symptom of her age because she was younger than me. That she had different priorities.
Yeah.
Those priorities weren't matching up with mine.
Right.
It's just like, nah, I can't do that. I'm gonna let you do your thing. Go have fun. Go party. Go be on 6th Street, because that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I did it. Why the hell would I want to take that away from somebody?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't. And I wasn't willing to force you to do that because I know that just creates resentment.
Yes.
And then later on down the line, they're like, well, you didn't let me do the things that I wanted to do. And I'm like, well, we've been together for 8 years, so let's just keep doing it because that's all we know. And then we're just like in a relationship that just doesn't match up.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Balancing everything, the older and older I get, is really tough. And I think it's also important. I feel like you got this 20-year time span where it's really good time to be selfish I feel like it's from 20 to like 40 is a
Yeah.
good time to.
Yeah, because 40, your life's over. It's time to, yeah. That's why I'm trying to work so hard, because 40's coming up in 4 years. And it's like, if I'm not where I need to be at, I'm going to still do it, but it's definitely going to be even more embarrassing to
Yeah,
me.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And I don't think that you should be embarrassed, but you kind of are setting the groundwork for the last years of your life.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And what do you want? What's important to you?
Yeah.
And that's that midlife crisis
Right.
where people don't, either they feel like they really did well in one aspect, but in another aspect it's not too good or whatever.
Yeah.
But and I think about it all the time. Like I've lost a lot of contact with a lot of my friends being in Austin.
Yeah.
My relationships with my family members probably aren't as good as they would be.
Yeah.
But this is what I can do.
Yeah.
This is the best that I can do,
Yeah.
probably, in my opinion.
Yeah,
This-
no, I will say the last 7 years has been, because I've been in Austin for 7 years, and I've had to drop a lot of friendships by the wayside. And it's inevitable, because I had to put effort and energy into the things that I wanted to do, and it's just like Houston's my hometown, and obviously I can go to Houston right now without any, like any complications. But it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. In the past, yeah, I was like, oh, I can't wait to go back home. And it's just like, now that I'm in Houston, I'm like, I can't wait to go back home to Austin,
Yeah.
because that's where my life is. I've built a life here. And it's like, I have to keep all the energy I need to use up is here in Austin, because this is where I've, placed roots down. And it's like, I don't want to lose those roots. And that's, you can apply that thing, what I said earlier about showing face. You got to show face. So the only time I go to Houston is to show face with family.
Right.
Because that's the most important thing to
Yes.
me in that aspect. Because before I used to go to Houston, I'd see all my friends and I'd see like little girlfriends and stuff. But it's just like, that's becoming a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's becoming a waste of time. So I'd rather just put all that energy towards people that, birthed me and changed my diapers and fed
Yes.
me and kept me in clothes. So.
And I feel like I'm at a weird part right now where I go back home probably too much for some comedians would consider it to be as.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't worry about that too much, but yeah.
well, here's why I'm not worried about it is because I know that there's an end date to it.
Yeah.
Everybody's home in the summer.
Yeah.
I know that. That's right now.
Right.
What happens when everybody graduates college?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got to remember that too. People, a lot of times people lose contacts because we're moving on.
Yes.
We're not in the same. We're not in the same path anymore.
No.
There's a lot of friends like that. I've managed to keep one friendship that isn't comedy related together, because I knew it's like, man, this guy's my brother, and I made every effort, because I remember he came to me. He was like, dude, you're starting to piss me off. You're not hanging out with me. You're not wanting to be with me, and I'm starting to feel like you're cutting me off, and it's not fair, because we've been together like friends for a long time, and we were with each other. And the truth is that he's got a family. He's got a baby boy and his wife, and I obviously don't have that. Right, I can't relate to that right now. But I made an effort to change that. So you can make choices, obviously, and I made that choice, and I'm glad I did it, because he is my brother, and he was like a brother for a long time. So, but there was a point where I was selfishly ignoring his friendship, which sucks. So I had to make that correction.
Yeah. It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
Life
yeah.
is a weird fucking thing, right?
It is. It is weird. It was awkward. I mean, he was really angry at me, and I was mad that he was mad. It's like, bro, can't you see I'm trying to accomplish something here too?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, well, I gotta reevaluate this.
Yeah.
And I did, and I decided. So some days, I tell a lot of people want to see me or are trying to figure, like, comics want to hang out or do something, and I'm just like, I can't. I got another obligation I got to take care of. It's not even to take care of. It's like one of the only respites of work and comedy that I get to have. So some days it feels like a chore, but other days I'm very grateful for it. because it gives me an opportunity to do something. Like I tell a joke right now where I've been seeing a girl at the bowling alley. She's the one that sprays the shoes. You've seen her, right?
Which bowling alley?
Just any bowling alley.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
seeing the
yeah.
girl
Okay.
at the bowling alley. You know, she's the one that sprays the shoes,
Yeah.
and you know, she's special. You know, you know what I mean. They wouldn't make a movie out of us. You know, but if they did, it'd be called Love in the Gutter. You know, and that's only because I've been going to the bowling alley a lot more with my buddy. You know, just like I'm living my life and I'm getting new material out of it. You know.
That's the other weird thing about comedy, right?
Yeah.
You gotta live a little bit.
Yeah, that's something about you young guys that I feel like, even though you're younger and more spry and have more energy, it's like, well, I lived so much life. I have a freaking like almost an infinite pool of stories I can pull from. Now, there's comedians that don't use. That's just my style. My style is like using real, true to life stories and then finding a funny spin on it, and that's because I've lived so much of it, and it's just like I've seen and done things that a lot of younger people haven't yet, right? Like being married for 8 years is something that a lot of younger people haven't accomplished yet. Because either they're doing it or they haven't done it yet. So that's something I can take on the stage. And the cool thing about audiences is it's relatable. Everybody understands what being married is like, and if they don't, either they do and experience themselves, then they can relate a lot to me, or they're looking forward to that and they're seeing the funniness of having to deal with a marriage or a divorce or something like that. So I'm very grateful for the life I've lived so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
And I think everybody in Austin really does like you. Or at least most people. Not everybody.
Well, no, I don't. Dude, it's so hard to please everybody.
You can't.
You can't.
Can't.
If I don't please everybody, I don't care. At this point, in the past, yeah, I think it was important in my naivete to be like, oh, everybody needs to like me. It's like, no, not everybody needs to like me. I need to have the people that are in my corner, and that's all that matters. And if I get new people in my corner, that's even for the better, you know. And if I lose some people, I lose some people. That's the beauty. And that's the beauty of comedy. And this is what I've always told you. No matter what you were going through, you have to stick through it. You have to you got to be around. Because if you stop, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
That's when you fail.
You can start up again. But like, the more you live in the not doing it, the more you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think the longer I do it, the more I stick around. I have accomplished more because there's a lot of people that I started with that don't do comedy anymore, and they're not doing anything, and it's just like I'm outlasting. My goal is to just outlast everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Like one day, a comic who's on fire, and they're funnier than me, or I perceive them to be funnier than me. I'm like, don't worry, that guy will be gone eventually. It doesn't matter because I'm still at it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and you'll be at it until you succeed with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you will be.
Yeah.
See, I've seen you go through shit while you're doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I also think about when I got back to Massachusetts, how important it was for me to immediately start trying to figure out the comedy scene there.
Yeah, and how was that?
It sucks.
Yeah?
It was horrible. Oh, yeah, I mean, for so many different reasons. Number one, just the state I was at mentally was not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all. And then also on top of that, by the time I had gotten to Boston and said, you know what, I'm ready to figure this out, I did one open... So I was in Austin for 3 weeks before I knew I was moving back.
Yeah.
I did one open mic the day before I left. I couldn't do open mics. There's just too much shit going on.
Yeah, of course.
And then I moved back. Then I got comfortable. It was Christmas happened, so then I didn't do anything through Christmas. And then I started going to the gym first, kind of got my head right. So by the time I was like, I'm going to learn the Boston scene, it's like 2.5 months of not doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Trying to, constantly writing, listening to recordings. I did one mic in between that, but I couldn't really do much. And then, by that point, I had to now figure it out. And they play by different rules there. And I found an old open mic list. I showed up to a bunch of places. One of the places had a show going on where they said, you know what, you should. This isn't an open mic, but you can get on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
That's how everything's done here, is through Facebook.
Yeah.
And
Which is not how it's done here.
No, it's all through Instagram.
It's all through Instagram. Yeah.
And it's harder on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more difficult. I had to learn a new thing. I've never been on Facebook before.
Which is crazy.
I know. It's wild. And so I then after that, once I got the mic sheet, they didn't have this 21 plus. Is it 21 plus or not? And I wasn't 21 yet.
Right.
And all the places are at least a 30-minute drive away.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Some nights it's an hour. Some nights it's 45 minutes. Yeah. And so I would drive to these places for an hour. And I'd show up and they'd be like, nope, can't come in. Mm-hmm. And then I'd have to drive home for an hour. So that's 2 hours of nothing. Yeah. But I realized you can figure it out. Yeah. No matter your circumstance.
Yeah,
you figure it out. It took probably 2-3 months, where in 5 months from when the shit happened in Austin to 5 months later I'm in Massachusetts, I'm going up 4 nights a week. You know how big that is? Yeah. To make that transition? And then when I came back to Austin, I wasn't rusty. Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah, must have been nice.
And so I played my cards well.
Yeah.
And I realized that Austin might not be around forever. You might not have it forever for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter. Enjoy it while you're here. Yeah. Make the most of it. But if it's not here, you'll figure it out wherever.
Yeah. No, that's a good attitude to have, for sure. Well, thank God. I mean, it's a good thing that Austin is the way it is.
Oh, my gosh.
But it also, there's also bad aspects, like the Kill Tony Freak thing. Where it's just like you're competing, not even comedically, you're just, the lists are just longer, and, you're just dealing with, comics or open micers who don't really have respect for the art. In my opinion, I just feel like they once got it in their head that's like to say the shittiest shit to people, and is like the move to do, because like a lot of people, there's a lot of comics who they watched who probably can get away with stuff like that, but it's like, dude, that person was doing that for years and years to be that I guess divisive or offensive, but it takes time to or it takes experience to learn how to navigate that minefields of taboo topics. And I promise you, doing it for a year or two isn't even close to where you need to be to get to that point.
No.
It's like at that point you should be working on the basics, learning to write a joke, learning to find things in your life that are just trying to be relatable to people. Because I think if you go some people, there was a comic I saw the other night from LA, and he was being super offensive, super unlikable, but the guy's been doing it for 10 years, so I guess not everybody learns,
Right.
It's like, I'm thinking that in LA there's a different attitude towards these subjects.
Yeah.
But over here in Austin, it's just like, people don't like people that punch down too much.
Yeah.
People want to see people either punch across or punch up rather than punch down.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because on vice versa, freaking Brian Holtzman, who punches down constantly and, makes fun of, like, gay people and people with disabilities, but he does it in such a way that is so ridiculous that all you can do is laugh.
Right.
But Brian Holtzman's been doing it forever.
That's the thing, is you don't know two things, right? Number one, you have no idea how long it took for them to get that way.
Right. 10,
12 years, 15 years sometimes, where they finally cracked the case. Or B, they develop an audience for that type of humor. And they know their type of audience. Yeah. Or, C, it's probably both. Yeah, they probably get really good at it and they develop an audience. So now when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, these people love it. I think Anthony Jeselnik's probably a great example of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it probably took him so fucking long to figure out these short jokes that are really offensive, but really work. And also, he had to develop that audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He did.
And so, to somebody who now just watches Kill Tony and Anthony Jeselnik clips on Instagram, they think that's what
comedy is.
Yes.
And it's not bad. You got to open yourself up to everything.
Yeah.
I watch clean comics to the dirtiest comics. Like I just watch anybody and everybody. I don't stick to just one genre of comedy.
No.
Because you gotta, and the beauty of it is of the photography thing. I get to see a lot of styles.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, all right, this works. This doesn't work. And maybe it's the audience. Sometimes it's the audience. Maybe you get a lot of blue bloods. People coming from a lot of money. So like being poor is not that relatable.
Right.
So
Right.
Your poor jokes aren't going to work here.
Right.
But maybe somebody's like loftier rich jokes might, they're just like, or if you can find a way to make fun of them too, and turn the mirror towards them, and just be like, oh, it's so ridiculous that this is what you guys do. Can be funny as well, but that takes experience.
Yep.
I think that's why some of the best comics are road comics that go all over the United States, and they see some of the best local comics I know go on tour, or they go on the road, and they know how to manipulate people, because Austin is a great scene because a lot of people do come here for comedy,
right?
And they come from all over the country, so it's great. It's a great way to learn people. My favorite time is to perform in front of like Europeans. Those are the most exciting.
Yeah.
You're not even 100% sure, because I don't know anything about Europe or anything.
No.
Like that, but like.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting to make them laugh, because what they'll laugh at, somebody that grew up in Texas won't laugh at at all, because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, with the Europeans, you really figure out what just relates to the human experience.
Yeah,
I feel like, you know what I mean, where it's
exactly.
not this niche thing of Kendrick Lamar or
right.
whatever.
Man, you're so brave for saying that. Yeah, Kendrick is definitely a niche artist. But that's why I respect Drake. No, don't get me wrong. When he was busting Drake's balls all over town, I was like, this is funny.
Yeah.
Because I like gossip, and I like just watching.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, it was great. But at the end, I'd rather listen to a Drake song than a Kendrick. Any old day. You know what I mean? Because it's poppier. It slaps more.
It's more for the general public.
Yeah.
The bigger crowd. Yeah. And, Kendrick, maybe calling him a niche thing is odd. But for, like, Europeans, I don't know. Are there a lot of Kendrick Lamar fans in Europe? Maybe.
I have no idea.
But I think probably to the average European older person, they might not care about Kendrick as much as some Americans do.
No. Kendrick is all-American. I mean, he won the Super Bowl, for God's sake.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but even then, you could see the big critique was like old white people were just like, "What is this crap?" Just like, fuck it, whatever, man. Do what you got to do. I mean, you were literally for a good half a year, you were the most talked about artist in the world, and now Kendrick's back to exactly where he needs to be.
Right.
Right. And Drake is back to number one on the list, as God intended. It's God's plan. Never forget, it's God's plan. And Kendrick goes against God's plan, I think.
He's the problem.
He's the problem. But when you go after the king, I think why people love gestures is because they love that's why you got to punch up. Punching up is so important, and I think Kendrick punched up to Drake in the musical sense.
Yeah,
and people were like, "Great, this is awesome."
Yes,
you love to see it.
Oh
you
yeah,
love to see the downfall, but I was like, "There's no downfall."
Yeah,
this is just just a road. like a like a speed bump for Drake.
Yeah. Drake will move on.
Yeah, Drake will move on. And I think that's why Drake's rebuttals were always so lazy, because he kind of understood that that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, he's just got to ride this out a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to ride this out. You're a little embarrassed, but you dust yourself off, and then you make another $1 billion on services. So.
Yeah. So,
So is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No.
I think we caught up.
Yeah, I feel
Obviously,
like we caught
there's a lot
up.
of personal stuff we could talk about, but let's not.
Yeah.
But.
I feel like this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Talking about Kendrick and Drake.
Well, just real quick. Let's just keep it real quick. But you got any short-term goals you want to accomplish?
I want to keep this podcast consistent for at least a year.
Okay.
That's my goal. We're at 2 months.
Yeah. Who you got lined up next?
So we got Mike Hale. He's in the. I have his recorded. It's gonna come out in 2 weeks.
Right.
This will come out in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got Simply Courtney on deck. I got his crew on deck. So Joey Cash. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't think I've met Joey. Joshua.
Josh and Mars. They both want to come on. Don Armand said he'd come on. Ivan Garcia said he would come on. I want to get Anthony Knight on really, really badly.
Anthony Knight's great too.
That's it.
For now,
that's it. I'll probably get Nick V back on. He's always a great one.
Yeah, Nick's great. Nick's hilarious.
Now you and Matt. You guys are.
Get Matt on
yes,
with me
absolutely.
Yes,
Yes, for sure. If you ever need any help with that show at all, just let me know.
Yeah, usually we film Fridays. I don't know how your Fridays are. Friday, like noonish.
Okay.
To like 4.
Okay.
I don't know what your schedule is.
Is that what you do weekly?
Yeah, we're trying to do it weekly.
Okay.
Not every week is filming, but if we can get you on like on a filming day, you could help out with lights and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And you've seen me edit the promos or whatever, so anything you need, I always like to help out my buddies, especially with projects that I'm really excited about, because they're excited about. Yeah. You don't need to put me on like a permanent thing or whatever, but just if you ever need anything, let me know.
Me and Matt's philosophy, and we'll talk about it when we're together, is just trying to raise up everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the goal of this project, is for Door Guys, is just how if we can help each other out. Like we're not trying to like create a walled garden. It's more about collaboration than anything else.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're excited.
I'm so excited for both of you guys. I'm excited to have you guys come back on. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 177. Do you have anything else to say?
No plugs. I guess, if you do hear this and if you want to see what I'm up to, which I'm up to a whole bunch of stuff, follow me on Instagram at Kenny_buttons, and I'll be there. And you can DM me if you're a comic who's looking for a photographer as well, or a videographer, if you need somebody to get you tape, right?
Yeah.
Let me know too. You too, to offer you. I don't charge very much. I charge a very small, fee for like storage and to pay for my storage needs and stuff like that. I'm very affordable. It's almost comically affordable.
And you are very reliable. You've never canceled on me once. You've always shown up. You answer your text messages very quickly, which I'm not good at, but you're very good at that, and you're very professional.
Oh, thank you.
With what you do.
Yeah, that's my good intentions vibe that I try to put out there. Yeah, it's one of the plus things that I can offer, because like I try to offer. It's like, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
What you can do for me. And so, if there's a healthy balance, man, we can be best friends forever.
And
that sort of thing.
You're great, Kenny.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, man. Let's get you and Matt back on here together.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye-bye.